Bayern Munich just beat Barcelona 2-0. This is recorded a day after the game. Here are my player ratings from this performance, which I didn't think was the greatest, and I talk more about this in my match analysis, tactics analysis, and overall match reaction, which is a separate video. But in terms of the Bayern players, I thought in general the defense was good, the midfield wasn't that great, and the attack wasn't that great. But let's go into those individual player ratings. So, we have not Manuel Neuer, sorry. I start from the attack as always. Sadio Mane on the left wing wasn't great, 5.5. He wasn't that involved in play. He had a few bright moments, but it was a game for Mane to forget. And he's had a few forgetful games in the past few games, so we really need to see Mane pick up now. Leroy Sane, I thought, was pretty good again. He of course had that excellent goal darting through the middle, and he was creating from that right-hand side space somewhat, even though I don't prefer him on the right-hand side. I talk more about this in the tactics video also. But he still was able to cut in, he was still able to create initiative for Bayern Munich, and that was valuable for the team and worked in our favour during the match. A great goal as well, 7 out of 10. Musiala also gets a 7 out of 10 from me, because Musiala was equally dangerous. His dribbling was good. He was named the official man of the match by UEFA, even though he lost the ball a few times and maybe it wasn't quite so fluid, quite so connected as previous games that Musiala shined in. Maybe that's down to Nagelsmann's tactics, because it wasn't this 4-2-2-2. It was a weird 4-2-3-1 today, but decent performance. Thomas Muller gets a 6.5 out of 10. I thought that he wasn't that involved on the surface level, but he did his job pressing as the main striker and forcing Bayern turnovers, forcing Bayern good play in that pressing system. But also for Leroy Sané's goal, his movement out wide drags one of the centre-backs with him, which causes a funnel, which causes this space to open for Musiala and Sane to dart into. So it shows that even though on the surface level he's not doing anything, his movement all game was crucial to Bayern's other attackers flourishing. His movement was crucial in dragging players out of positioning, when he dropped into midfield, in dragging the centre-backs with him and creating pockets of space. And this shows how even if he's not playing well, it appears the team is really much better when Thomas Muller is on the field. Marcel Sabitzer, I thought, got a 5.5. He got subbed off at halftime. He never got able to exert his control over the game. He was a bit sloppy with the passes. He was never able to really break out the press, and we were under immense pressure with Sabitzer. I thought Goretzka did better with more physicality, but it wasn't great from Sabitzer. 5.5 out of 10. Joshua Kimmich, it was decent. He was a conductor, especially in the second half. 6.5 out of 10. But like Sabitzer, he struggled breaking the press of Barcelona. He struggled getting into good positions. And Kimmich also, he wasn't as involved as he's been in previous times. His defending, like Sabitzer, it was tenacious, it was decent, but they still got overran in midfield in both the first half and the second half. In terms of the defence, I thought that I'm going to say Mazraoui is the right back instead of Pavard, because Pavard got injured so early. Mazraoui was playing in like a right half space at times, and he had great passing. He had good initiative, and he played well when he came on, made some good defensive coverage. He had a few lapses in concentration, but still enough to warrant a 7 out of 10. It was a good performance. Upamecano, I thought he was pretty solid. I thought that he gets a 7.5 out of 10 for me as a result, because he was keeping Lewandowski at bay, man-marking Lewandowski at times, and watching all his movements, and he really nullified Lewandowski. While he was also strong in the tackle, he bailed out Manuel Neuer after his mistake earlier. Lucas Hernandez, I thought, gets an 8 out of 10. This is because he performed the same role as Upamecano, which was really nullifying Lewandowski and dealing with the attack, and they did their job well, but he also got his goal. That's why I'm getting him an 8 out of 10. And Julian Nagelsmann said that a goal for Lucas Hernandez should be to score more goals from the set pieces, and this is what he did today. He's 6 foot tall, so it's a surprise he hasn't scored that much. Anyway, But the reason I'm not giving these guys like 9s out of 10s or 8.5 out of 10s is because Barcelona still had chances. Lewandowski still had chances in the box. Pedri still had chances in the box, which I guess they didn't defend well enough for them to have these chances, which is why I'm going to mark them down slightly. I thought Alphonso Davies was physical. He occasionally broke through on that left-hand side, but it wasn't a vintage performance. It wasn't a terrible performance. It was a pretty too good performance. 7 out of 10. Neuer, 6.5 out of 10. He made some good saves. He made an excellent save. But we have to talk about that huge blunder. If the Barcelona attack capitalizes on that moment, then we are 1-0 down. And it was a mistake we've been seeing all too often from Neuer this season. We've seen him blunder heavily this season. So I'm quite concerned about this now. We've seen his distribution be very shaky, especially the left-footed passes. When the ball's coming across him and he's doing a left-footed switch, it often goes wrong recently, and I'm very concerned about that. I hope it's not a problem in the future. I hope that Neuer can return to this, but that's why he gets 6.5 out of 10 only. Please check out the match review reaction. Sorry that this video is only up a day later, and I'll be back for my lineups video for the next Bayern game.